I'm pleased to present Molly Berendt as our presenter today, the Compass for Kids Executive Director. Molly founded Compass back in 2011 to give children who are homeless an opportunity to participate in after-school and summer programs by removing barriers such as cost, paperwork, and transportation. Between Camp Compass, Club Compass, Camp Carolot, and the Backpack Feeding Program, Compass for Kids looks to provide a variety of support for local, low-income, at-risk elementary students, balancing their academic and social-emotional growth. Women for Women helped fund Camp Compass, the 6-week free summer learning program, in 2017 and in 2018, helping expand the number of children served, covering transportation costs, and hiring reading-specific teachers to encourage further academic growth. So again, I'm pleased to welcome Compass for Kids Executive Director, Molly Berendt.
Hi, everybody. Aaron, could you please make me the host so I can share my screen?
You are the host.
All right. All right, everybody, hopefully you can see that. If not, you should be able to kind of scroll and minimize the videos so that you can see the PowerPoint a little bit bigger. Thanks for the introduction, Aaron. I'm so happy to have the opportunity to be here and talk with you today. So Compass for Kids, we are a local not-for-profit organization. And as Aaron said, we're providing both academic and social emotional support to empower low-income at-risk children in our community as well as their families. Our mission, which we've already said, providing academic and social emotional support. And then our vision ultimately is that all children in our community experience success and reach their full potential. Way back in 2011, I founded Compass as I was a member of Douglas Avenue United Methodist Church. I was working somewhere else full time, and as a volunteer, founded Compass specifically to serve the homeless students at Du Bois Elementary School. I was new to Springfield as of 2010 and was really surprised to hear that there were between 600 and 800 students identified in our school district every year. And that was very shocking to me as a newcomer. And so I started doing research and asking questions and trying to figure out what was being done about it. And nothing was being done about it. So I was inspired to start a program. The principal of Du Bois Elementary at the time, Cindy Baher, as well as the school district's homeless liaison, Darla Haley, they expressed to me that the biggest need for homeless students in Springfield School District was a summer program. And so that's originally what I set out to do. It couldn't have been more perfect because I had spent 2 summers at a summer program for homeless students in Cincinnati, Ohio, where I'm from. So it really just felt like the perfect fit. There were barriers to starting a summer program that very first summer in 2011, so we ended up starting with an after-school program, and we are still adhering to that original model today, which is known as Club Compass. And fortunately, in 2013, we were able to add that summer program, which had been our original goal, and that is called Camp Compass. So just, in a nutshell, we were a ministry of Douglas Avenue United Methodist Church that first year from 2011 to 2012. Then we were a program under the umbrella of the Family Service Center from 2012 to 2016. And then in 2016, we launched from the Family Service Center and became an independent, not-for-profit organization. And that's when we changed our name to Compass for Kids and developed our own board of directors and our own brand. Our 3 main programs, so Club Compass, that's our original program. It takes place during the school year. We serve about 125 kids each school year. They're all referred to us by their school based on eligibility criteria. The programming is completely free to them. And while it includes many different components, which I'll tell you a little bit later about what we're doing specifically this year during COVID, the main focus is on social emotional learning and support, as well as mentoring by volunteers from our community. Camp Compass is our largest program. It takes place during the summer. It's a summer learning program, and it's a mix of academics and enrichment. We serve up to 300 kids, and it's the school district's elementary summer school as of 2019. And then Camp Care-a-Lot is our newest program, although it's been around for over 26 years. It became one of our programs in 2018, and it's a short-term residential camp designed to build up the kids' self-esteem and self-worth and help them set goals for their future. We typically serve about 50 kids, and it's an overnight camp we rent space at a campground such as Lake Springfield Christian Assembly or Lake Springfield Baptist Camp. I would be remiss if I didn't thank Women for Women for your past support. Erin already mentioned this a little bit, but I wanted to kind of outline the specifics. We were fortunate enough to receive grants from you in the past in 2018 and 2017 for Camp Compass. In 2018, we were able to hire 3 reading specialists, and that's in addition to the classroom teachers. The reading specialists really aid the kids because they are able to do small group interventions, either like pushing into the classroom or pulling kids out as small groups, as well as some one-on-one support. So kids get a lot of attention and they're able to make larger gains in reading over the summer thanks to those reading specialists. You guys also helped with the cost of transportation to and from Camp Compass. If you can imagine, we're serving kids who are low income and at risk. Not all of them have transportation. So without that school bus going around picking them up, they may never have the opportunity to participate in a program like ours. In that summer, we had tremendous results. You can see 100% of the students maintained or improved in both reading and math. So you can't get any better than that. And then also in 2017, your funding allowed us to add a 5th classroom of students, making it the largest camp we had ever had at that time. Previously, we had been able to serve 4 classrooms of students, so around 80 kids. And thanks to your grant, we were able to add another approximately 20 kids in a 5th classroom. And we specifically sought out those kids from beyond our network, and we had reached out to other not-for-profit organizations and social service agencies and schools to refer kids to us. Again, we had fantastic results. 100% of the students improved in math, and 97.4% improved in reading. So thank you again for your past funding. All right, I think what a lot of you want to hear is kind of what we're doing now. I'll talk a little bit about spring, just so you can kind of see how we were able to adapt quickly, and then share what we did for this past summer for Camp Compass, and then what we are doing now for this next school year. So you can also kind of see the progression. So in March, we made the decision to shut down all of our Club Compass sites, and that was even before the school district had closed down. We kind of saw it coming, and we quickly adapted to providing the components of Club Compass virtually, and we immediately pivoted our backpack feeding program to a home delivery model, thanks to our incredibly dedicated volunteers. We continued our social emotional lessons by having our staff and volunteers record themselves teaching lessons from our curriculum book, and we put those lessons on YouTube and then texted those YouTube links to the parents of our kids. Additionally, we hosted live enrichment and or life skills classes via Zoom, and we were able to deliver the supplies to the kids along with the backpack feeding program food, so that way they had the supplies to participate in that enrichment activity that we all did together. In addition to our regular backpack feeding program, which we switched to home delivery, we also had volunteers and staff who were picking up the school district meals Monday through Friday and delivering those to our families who weren't able to access those meals themselves. So that was kind of above and beyond our regular backpack feeding program, but we wanted to make sure that the kids had the breakfast and lunch every day, Monday through Friday, as well as the weekend meals that we typically provide. And then additionally, we wanted to be really a support system for our kids and for their entire family. So our staff called every family at least once a week to check in and see how everybody in the household was doing. And we met other needs as they arose, such as toilet paper or gallons of milk or bags of sugar. I mean, whatever people needed, our staff and our volunteers were able to meet those needs and deliver them directly to the families at their houses. Additionally, our staff helped get those tech devices like iPads and Chromebooks that the school district was able to provide, as well as the internet hotspots. We made sure that those weren't inaccessible to the family. So anybody who needed help picking those up from the school, checking them out, our staff also assisted with that. So we really turned on a dime and were able to continue to provide main aspects of our program in March, April, and May. This summer, it felt like almost a completely new program. We completely redesigned Camp Compass to be a remote learning model. It took us a lot of time to plan because we tried to learn not only from what we had done in the spring, but also from what the school district had done in the spring. So we interviewed principals, we interviewed teachers, we interviewed parents, we even interviewed some students about what went well in the spring for remote learning and what did not go well. And we tried to design the highest quality remote learning summer camp we possibly could. So what it looked like, we did shorten it from 6 weeks to 5 weeks just because of us needing adequate planning time, and then also teachers wanting to kind of get back to their own school starting in August. We served 219 kids, and they came from all of the District 186 elementary schools. And the two main buckets, academics, we shortened it. If you remember from past years, we typically have 3 hours of academics daily. Because this was going to be live via Zoom, and it's hard to keep everybody's attention span going on Zoom, we shortened it to 90 minutes. And each Zoom class was taught by 2 teachers. And each team of teachers had 2 sessions per day. So there was a 9 to 10:30 session and an 11 to 12:30 session. And the reason we did that is because it allowed us to have very small class sizes. We only had 6 to 8 students per class, and the team teaching model was extremely effective because that way one teacher could pull a child or a small group of children into breakout rooms. And so that really helped ensure that we were able to provide differentiated instruction and immediate feedback and individualized attention. We still focused on math and literacy. We had a daily schedule that was broken out, so it was very clear like how much time teachers were spending on different aspects. One thing that we did learn was that we didn't always want to do literacy first and math second because kids would get a little bit tired. So we learned to some days flip it and do math first and then literacy. Teachers also weaved in social emotional learning, social emotional check-ins, brain breaks, some physical movement into those 90 minutes. And then in order for the kids to successfully participate in that academic class every day via Zoom, we provided them with books at their tailored reading level, school supplies, which we delivered on a regular basis. We provided each child with a blanket so that they had a designated learning spot, because most of them, let's face it, like they don't have their own bedroom, they don't have a nice desk and chair to sit in. So at least we were able to give them a blanket and kind of coach them on how to create a learning spot for themselves. We continued to have enrichment. We weren't able to have field trips or swimming, unfortunately, but we did have a lot of success with our enrichment activities. We decided to have most of them be pre-recorded videos. So we had staff members basically doing like, here's how to complete this enrichment activity. So that was 4 days a week. And then 1 day a week, we did do live via Zoom, and we hired instructors to teach the kids either fitness or dance or yoga, and that became Wellness Wednesdays. The kids had everything that they possibly needed to participate in the activities. So for instance, we bought 300 yoga mats and delivered them for their yoga classes, and then we created a supply kit for every single activity, and those were delivered with our backpack food. So that way the kids received a bag with every single thing that they would need to complete the activity, and then they would watch the how-to video. What was really great, we heard from the students and the parents about the pre-recorded videos, is the flexibility. The kids didn't have to be on Zoom at a specific day and time. They could watch that pre-recorded video at any time that was convenient for them, and they could even catch up. So for instance, they may do 3 activities in one day to kind of catch up, or they may do them at 9 p.m. at night, or they may do them all on Saturdays. And so we really heard from the kids and the parents that they loved that flexibility, and they loved how all of the supply kits, like all the ingredients were pre-measured, so it just made it super easy for them to do. And a lot of times the kids were able to do them with their siblings or with their parents. We were able to engage the parents as well. And then, like I said, we continued our backpack feeding program by delivering weekend meals every single week to the kids. And in addition to the parents and the caretakers participating in some of those enrichment activities, we also created a private Facebook group where we were able to engage with the parents, and that was super fun because the parents were sharing photos and videos of their kids doing yoga or doing fitness or with their finished product from their enrichment activity. So we were able to have a dialogue all summer with the families, which was a lot of fun. And then looking to this fall, I feel like we learned so much from the spring and so much from the summer. And we were really trying to take all that feedback and incorporate that into a redesign of Club Compass this school year. We didn't want to just do the same thing we had done in the spring. We had learned so much about how to make our remote programs even better. So right now what we are doing is on Tuesdays we have our social emotional curriculum, which we switched to EduMotion, which is a online based curriculum that is like dance based. So the kids will actually be like standing up, learning dances from other countries, learning about other cultures while they are learning about social and emotional topics. And so we hope it's going to be a lot more interactive and engaging. And it's still facilitated by our wonderful volunteers. Every Wednesday, the kids will have an enrichment activity. And because we heard that those pre-recorded videos were so great and flexible, that's the model that we decided to continue with. But we are enhancing those enrichment activities we hired an educator to add learning extensions to each of those activities. So it's not just like a one and done activity. We're basically creating a web page for each activity with the video embedded, and then we have learning extensions so the kids can continue down different paths to further their learning on this subject. And then we have already created all the enrichment activity kits for all the activities, and those will be delivered to kids on a weekly basis. Additionally, every Thursday, the kids will participate in book club. So we have a kindergarten and first grade group, a second and third grade group, and a fourth and fifth grade group. And so they have different books that are more appropriate to their grade level. And so every Thursday at 7 p.m., we have volunteers who will be reading books or chapters from a book to the kids. And then we are going to be purchasing all of the books and delivering them to the kids every week so that they have the books in hand. And I'm super excited about that. I had seen recently that 61% of low-income families don't have a single book in their home, which is so sad. And so I love the idea that by the end of the school year, every single one of our kids in Club Compass will have a little library of books from the school year. And then additionally, beyond those kind of three main components, Tuesday, Wednesday, Thursday, we're providing school supply kits to all the kids. We're providing these trifold boards that is going to kind of help them block off distractions going on in their household. And it has tons of great information on the boards for them. We will continue to deliver meals through our backpack feeding program. And then our staff will continue to check in with all of the families on a regular basis and be a support system for them, because now that we're past the 6-month mark for COVID, I know a lot of us are feeling isolated and our mental health is suffering. So we're going to continue to be there for our families. Just a little bit about what makes Compass for Kids unique. We are very visionary, so we're often the first in the Springfield community to do something. For instance, we were the first to specifically seek out the homeless students and meet their needs. We were the first to have a backpack feeding program in our county. We were ahead of the curve in terms of incorporating social emotional learning into our programs, incorporating academics into our summer camp. So we're really changing the landscape of Springfield by being a visionary leading organization. We're very data driven. We have pre and post assessments for all of our programs, and we are looking at the data and constantly improving our programs based on what we are seeing. We're also research-based, and that's very important to us to stay on top of the research in the fields of social emotional learning, after-school programming, summer programming, just to make sure that we're always adhering to best practices. And again, always improving our programs on behalf of our kids. Measurable results are very important to us. So those pre and those post assessments that we do for camp, for club, and those are independently evaluated by a professor at University of Illinois Springfield. It's critical to us that our programs are free. We don't want there to be any barriers to program participation. And so it's through generous funders like you that make it possible for us to offer programming to the kids who need it most and keep it free to them. Other barriers, we try to make sure that our registration paperwork is minimal. We don't want families to have to jump through any more hoops than they absolutely need to. And, we provide transportation to our programs when we're in person, when it's not COVID times, so that transportation isn't a barrier. And what I love about Compass for Kids too is that we're a small local organization, which means we can be nimble. We adapted so quickly during COVID, and then even throughout the 6 months we've continued to adapt. And so I love how we can always meet the needs of our kids and their families because we're small enough to be nimble. Recent results from this past summer, 99% of our participants improved in either literacy or math. And then for last school year for Club Compass, 96% of the participants improved in at least one of their social emotional skills. Here are some ways that you can get involved. We are looking for additional volunteers to help us out this school year with either those Tuesday social emotional classes or Thursday book club or delivery drivers for those meals and enrichment supply kits and school supplies and books. We have had some issues getting enough food. So from time to time, we host food drives, or other businesses or organizations have hosted food drives, and that is a great way to ensure that we have a variety of kid-friendly food that the kids can prepare themselves. Donate on our website or by mailing a check to our office. And then additionally, we have 2 committees that non-board members can join, either our development committee or our marketing committee. Also, we are seeking additional members on our board of directors. And just like Aaron and Stacy invited me here today, one of us would be happy to speak to your local group, civic organization, church, whatever. We'd be happy to spread the word. This really helps us bring more awareness to our organization. And then here's some places where you can learn more. We have a website. We are active on social media. And then here is my email address and phone number if you would like to get a hold of me directly. That is it for my presentation, and I would love it if some of you have questions.
Well, thank you, Molly, so much. That was wonderful. And one thing about Compass I love, you guys have amazing pictures. Everybody, you have like huge smiles as kids. It's great. For anyone who'd like to ask a question, we have the chat feature down, like I said, down below. But also, if you'd like to ask a question verbally, you can raise your hand in the chat. I'd be happy to call on you. But we'll look to get through as many questions as we have the time we have remaining, about 10 to 15 minutes. So if there are any questions, we'd love to hear them. Yeah, Sarah?
Hi there. That was just brilliant and beautiful. So what an asset to our town. I was wondering if you'd give us just a little example of one of your enrichment activities, just to fill in the blanks for our minds.
Sure. So I know our very first one was tie-dye. So all the kids get to tie-dye a t-shirt, and they can pick through, like they can either do it, there's 3 options and directions for how to do either like a bullseye or a spiral or just a crumple t-shirt. Another one, like they're gonna do a Halloween activity where they're painting pumpkins. They're gonna be making s'mores pops. They're gonna be making Rice Krispie treats. So it's really a mix of arts and crafts, STEM activities, and then like cooking and baking.
And what about an example of one of the emotional social skills that you're trying to grow in these children?
Sure. So we just switched to EduMotion, which is a new curriculum, and they follow the CASTLE framework, which is like the collaborative for social emotional learning. And so the kids are learning about things like, taking turns, respectful listening, eye contact, but there's broader areas such as like social awareness, self-awareness, social responsibility. So every week there's a different like big idea that the kids will work on, but it's going to be different because within this curriculum, the kids have some agency. So along with their volunteer, they are going to get to pick, and it's set up like a journey where they have a passport and they get to pick, okay, what's the big idea we're going to be learning this week? What country are we going to? And then within that country, like which dance from that country are we going to be learning?
Thank you.
Molly, where does most of your funding come from?
So it's a mix now of private and public funding. So the largest single funder is now Springfield Public School District 186. Once we became their official elementary summer school as of 2019. And then otherwise, our largest funders are private, so such as United Way of Central Illinois, such as different funds at the community foundation, local Rotary clubs, and then our own individual donors and fundraising events and campaigns.
Karen, you have a question?
I couldn't tell if you called on me or not, Aaron.
I did, yes.
You did. Okay, sorry. Can everybody hear me okay? I usually use a microphone. Okay. My question is going to sound a little bit self-serving, I'm afraid, but I keep wondering, as I'm super busy trying to do my work remote, but I've got a 12-year-old who's in 7th grade who seems to finish all of her virtual learning before noon every day and then wants to know what we can do together that's fun. I keep trying to figure out if there's a way to kind of harness all this extra power that these kids around her age have to help other people, you know, create videos, reading books via Zoom. Just, can you think of any way that you had a great list of how we can all help out, but is there anything you can think of, packaging lunches maybe for kids that 7th graders and other kids that aren't old enough to drive could possibly do while parents are working?
Potentially. So typically our minimum age for volunteers is 16. So that's really going to be the only thing. We have made exceptions from time to time, especially if somebody can really vouch for the maturity level of the student. But again, like if it was anything in person like that, like obviously you'd still have to be able to provide transportation. Most of what we are doing is remote, but we have a teeny bit in person when it comes to like packaging up our food, for instance, into those bags that then get delivered to the kids. We would be willing to try out, like if, you know, if your child wanted to like read a story one time, you know, on our Thursday evening book clubs, or participate in one of our social and emotional lessons as a helper. So the way that we have it set up is the curriculum is separated by age group. So we have like a kindergarten and first grade hub, a second and third grade hub, a fourth and fifth grade hub. Each of those has a leader, and then within that we break it out further, and we have like 5 classroom leaders for each age group. And then each of those classroom leaders, we have 1 or 2 classroom helpers, and that just helps make sure that there's plenty of people in there helping the kids. So if your daughter was interested in being one of those helpers, you know, we would be willing to look into that, and that would be something that would be like every Tuesday afternoon. For the kids, it's from 4 to 4:45, but for the helpers and the leaders, we ask them to be available from like 3:45 to 5.
So is that something where you might make an exception, or any kid in her age would be able to, since it's online, I'm not sure what kind of age requirements there might be.
Yeah, it's really just going to depend on like, I mean, I'm not going to like market it out to everybody, just because I don't want to create more work on our volunteers, but we can definitely make exceptions, and then just, you know, it's really based on a maturity level, and then if it's not working out, we would have that conversation with you.
Okay, thank you.
Mm-hmm.
Molly, I have a question.
Yeah.
With being forced to do so many new things, I'm curious if anything has worked really, really well to the point where you, when you do go back in person, that you would incorporate some of the new virtual you know, sessions or whatever kind of technology, and kind of incorporate that when you do go back in person, kind of have that hybrid model, I guess, right?
Yeah, that's a great question. I definitely think that we will never go back to things how they were. We will probably always have a virtual component. Even once we can go back in person, I see both our Club Compass programs and Camp Compass programs having an in-person component and a virtual component. The reason that I'm really excited about that is because we were always limited in the past by how many basically because of how many volunteers we could recruit to be with our kids, Club Compass was only 1 day a week, but now that it's virtual, it's 3 days a week. And so, and then with the learning extensions, the kids could really be doing activities 5 or 6 days a week. So we feel like we're able to kind of have more touch points for the kids already. And so I think once we go back in person, maybe it's only in person 1 day a week in the school year, but there's activities every day of the week. And same thing with camp. It's like, you know, we can have camp in person 5 days a week, but maybe we send an additional enrichment activity home every night for the kids to do with their parents. So I definitely think we will always have these options. We'll never go back to things how they were, but that's for the better.
Well, Molly, thank you so much for spending so much time and presenting all that. That was really wonderful. If there's any other questions after I close, you know, feel free to ask those. But I just wanted to provide the website information if we have non-members who have joined us today. You can find out more about the Women for Women Giving Circle at cfll.org. There's a Programs and Initiatives tab at the top of the webpage. You'll see Women for Women, and you can find more information there. We'll have this video up as soon as possible, so if you'd like to share it with friends and let them know these are the kind of projects that Women for Women has funded in the past and is encouraged, and like them to know what Compass is doing now with everything going on, we'll have that up soon and have that emailed out to you. And our next learning session is the 2020 grant recipient, Enos Park Neighborhood Improvement Association, and they'll provide an update on their program and how they've progressed even through COVID. And that'll be on Wednesday, November 4th at 1 p.m. So save the date for that session. But if there aren't any other questions, I'll pause for a moment. But everyone has Molly's email if you'd like to reach out. But again, Molly, thank you so much for spending so much time. This is really wonderful to hear everything that's been going on and all the different programs that are still being performed and all the gains that are being made with the students across Springfield. So thank you.
Thanks for having me.
Thank you. Bye-bye.
Bye.